Did you know that in the ancient Sumerian world, a terror stalked the night, a creature of nightmares and despair known as Lamastu? She was not a mere demon, but a force of nature, a manifestation of the primal fear that gripped mothers as they watched over their precious infants. Her name itself, a guttural whisper, sent shivers down the spines of even the bravest warriors. Lamastu was a creature of contradictions, a grotesque amalgamation of animal and human. Her head, a twisted mockery of a woman's, was adorned with the horns of a bull, her face contorted in a perpetual snarl, her eyes burning with malevolent fire. Her body, a grotesque parody of a woman's form, was covered in hair, her limbs ending in the claws of a lion. She was a creature of chaos, a living embodiment of the darkness that lurked at the edges of the world. Her hunger was insatiable, a ravenous desire that consumed her every thought. She craved the blood of infants, the life force that flowed through their veins, the innocence that made them so vulnerable. She would stalk the night, her footsteps silent as the grave, her presence a chilling whisper in the wind. She would slip into the homes of unsuspecting mothers, her claws scraping against the walls, her breath a foul stench that filled the air. The mothers, their hearts pounding in their chests, would feel a cold dread creep into their bones. They would hear the cries of their infants, the sound distorted and twisted, as if coming from a nightmare. They would see the shadow of Lamastu, a monstrous silhouette that danced in the flickering candlelight, and they would know, with a certainty that chilled them to the core, that their child was in danger. Lamastu's attacks were swift and brutal. She would snatch the infant from its cradle, her claws tearing through the soft flesh, her teeth sinking into the delicate skin. The cries of the child would be cut short, replaced by a gurgling sound as the life drained from its tiny body. The mother, helpless and horrified, could only watch as her child was taken, her screams swallowed by the darkness. But Lamastu's cruelty did not end there. She would torment the mothers, driving them to the brink of madness. She would whisper in their ears, filling their minds with images of their child's suffering, their screams echoing in the night. She would steal their milk, leaving them with empty breasts and a gnawing emptiness in their hearts. She would leave behind her mark, a chilling reminder of her presence. A bloody handprint on the wall, a single, twisted claw embedded in the floor. The Sumerians, a people who lived in constant fear of the unknown, believed that Lamastu was a force of nature, a manifestation of the primal fear that gripped mothers as they watched over their precious infants. They believed that she was a punishment from the gods, a consequence of their sins. They built temples to appease her, offering sacrifices of food and drink, hoping to appease her wrath. They created amulets and charms, intricate designs etched into clay and stone, meant to ward off her evil. They hung these amulets around the necks of their infants, hoping to protect them from her clutches. They inscribed protective spells on the walls of their homes, hoping to keep her out. They prayed to the gods, begging for their protection, their voices trembling with fear. But Lamastu was a relentless force, a creature of darkness that could not be contained. She would find a way to slip through their defenses, her claws tearing through their flimsy barriers. She would find a way to reach their children, her hunger insatiable, her thirst for blood unquenchable. The stories of Lamastu's attacks were passed down through generations, whispered in hushed tones around flickering fires. They were tales of terror and despair, of mothers driven to madness, of infants snatched away in the night. They were a reminder of the darkness that lurked at the edges of the world, a darkness that could consume even the most innocent of souls. But Lamastu was not just a creature of fear. She was also a symbol of the power of motherhood, the fierce love that mothers felt for their children. She was a reminder of the vulnerability of life, the fragility of innocence. She was a force that could not be controlled, a creature of chaos that could not be contained. And so, the Sumerians lived in fear of Lamastu, their lives forever shadowed by her presence. They built their lives around her, their rituals and beliefs shaped by her terror. They learned to live with the fear, to accept the darkness that lurked at the edges of their world. For they knew that Lamastu was a part of their reality, a force that could not be ignored, a creature that would forever haunt their dreams. But even in the face of such terror, the Sumerians found a way to survive. They found strength in their faith, in their love for their children, in their determination to protect them from the darkness. They found hope in the belief that even in the face of the most terrifying of creatures, there was still a chance for light to prevail. And so, the story of Lamastu continues to be told, a chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks at the edges of the world, a reminder of the power of fear, and a reminder of the enduring strength of the human spirit. For even in the face of the most terrifying of creatures, there is still hope, there is still love, there is still the will to survive.